Hello and welcome back once again to Can You Survive? I think you guys might know the drill by now, but we are in fact back at Tribal Council for yet another question and answer session featuring Cam and all of the players. So let's
Come on in.
bring them on in and get this going. Coming into Tribal Council are Jess, Phil, Aldrian, Patch, Leo, Rede, Kieran, Francesca, and Nick.
All right. We'll now bring in our jury.
No, I'm short.
All right. We have Lindsay and Cod voted out at our last tribal council. All right. Welcome back, players. Francesca, we'll start with you. That's 2 tribal councils in a row that you receive votes. 3 tribal councils in a row. Thank you for correcting me. How do you keep kind of fighting against this narrative? And is there something that you're trying to pitch to the tribe, to kind of, shift that?
The only thing I've said to people is that I literally haven't done anything all day other than not be the vote. So that's basically my pitch. It's like so much gameplay is going on and like very cool like moves that are like in the DL and it's not like I'm just there. So that's my only pitch. It's like at this point it's final 9, like people just start thinking about like who they actually can beat at the end.
Yeah, I mean, so are you claiming that there are specific people that are doing things that other people aren't aware of? Is that what your pitch there?
Seems like a trick question to me. I'm claiming I'm not one of those people.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Adriana, at the last tribal council, we had the public vote reveal. You were the only one that's still in the game that had voted for Francesca. How did that conversation go after tribal? Do you feel like that put you in a difficult position for this strategy session?
I was honest with Francesca on why I did it. It was more of a thing um, for me and Cod, and I explained it to her, and I think that she understood.
Okay. Okay. Leo, is a majority forming here, or is it still one of those things where you're kind of picking off outliers?
I think that the last time I answered a question like this, it was, hey, the past isn't indicative of the future. I don't know if I would stand by that statement.
Oh.
Like it's a strong group. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Trying to figure it out.
Rita, when he says it's a strong group, is that a strong group of the 9 of you? Obviously, one of you has to be on the bottom of that 9, or is it a strong 5 in a group of 9 here?
That's a great question because it definitely feels like we're a strong 9. Like the vibes like at camp have been so wonderful. Like at times I'm like in some conversations I'm like forgetting that I'm playing Survivor. Truly I'm not like and so I think like yes, like if you were to I think listen in on those conversations, like I feel like it just feels like it's a big group and we're all like trying to move forward together, and we are. And I do think things keep shifting though, in terms of like how each person can keep moving forward together.
Nice.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
No.
Okay.
Oh, very, very politically worded. Patch, I mean, how do you figure out where you stand in that big group then? Because obviously here, there's only going to be 5 of you that make Final 5, only 4 of you that are going to make Final 4. If you're voting as a big group of 7 or 8 right now, I mean, that's just, how do you make sure that you are in that inner circle?
Well, I think that's the game, and so that's the game of conversations that you have to see where you stand with everyone, and then have conversations with each person and kind of put your pieces of your personal puzzle together and hope that you choose the right path for the way to get your puzzle done.
Okay. But Phil, I mean, if you are voting as a big enough group, how do you make sure that you stand apart from that group so that when it comes time for the jury to be in charge and vote for one of you, that you have something to say to them?
That's a great question.
I think that as we move forward in this game, and now that the jury is forming, we're starting to question what are they going to appreciate and look for. And so it's figuring out how you make those moves at the right time. I think things done too early, too late will affect the outcome of the game.
Sure. I mean, Kieran, it definitely is always about timing in Survivor, right? But how do you figure out when that timing is? I mean, if you wait too long, you could be the next one to go, even at this tribal council.
Yeah, I wish I knew the answer to that because I don't know when the right timing is necessarily. I think it just you have to go with your gut and talk to the people you trust and figure out what's best. And hopefully I'm right, but maybe I'm not. So it's a tough one.
Okay. Jess, in looking at our jury, I see two former original Goddard members there. I might be incorrect here, but I believe you're the only original Goddard left standing here.
No.
No. I'm sorry to point you out. But at the end of the day, we have two there. Is that indicative of a pattern forming here in any way?
I fear so. I didn't feel in control of the last two votes. I was on the wrong side of the vote for one of them. This isn't necessarily playing out, how I wanted it to.
When you are on the wrong side of the votes or potentially not in a decision making seat, I mean, how are you pitching to these folks of like, let's do something different, let's change things up?
I think it's just about trying to see like what the safe name is for certain different people. Like you don't want to, go so far out of your way to protect someone else that you end up throwing your own self under the bus. And so it's been this sort of like give and take of trying to figure out when to step back and when to step forward.
Interesting. Nick, safe names is a interesting topic. Are there certain names that you feel like are not being said because it would piss off too many people?
I mean, I think also it might piss off that person, right? We talk about like how this tribe is becoming like a unit and a family. Like I keep hearing this word getting thrown around, and everyone's like, we bonded so much in just 3 days, but it's still the game. So there's, I think, sometimes like a little bit of fear. Like if you say someone's name, it's you never know like who you're saying it to and who like if that's gonna get back to them. So like yeah, you don't want to kind of like mess with your friends, but you also don't want to mess with your target.
Interesting. Okay.
It's been 4 days.
My bad.
It's letting give credit to all of us.
They zoom by. All right. Unless anyone else has anything else to add, I think we are ready to get to the votes. All right. Aldrin, we'll start with you.
All right, let's head on away from Tribal now for our regularly scheduled tea time sesh. Have to let y'all know that the Starlink is currently not on. So I'm going to do my best with my phone service. And if I need to move because y'all can't understand me, I absolutely will. Just let me know. But hopefully this is okay. Let's see. All right. All right, we have the final 9, my favorite number. Okay, so, oh boy, let's get into it. So, all right, so Francesca, let's start with her. She has been the decoy vote for a few rounds now. She's like okay with that. She's not totally mad about it, but she is tired of getting votes. She would just love to go one tribal without getting a single vote. And fun thing about Francesca that I just learned this round, so that you heard it here first, I think. She has a super secret alliance with Rede. She calls it the best kept secret in the game. They are intentionally voting differently to hide their connection from all of the other players. This round, she's finally thinking maybe she will not be getting votes, or maybe she will. Nick told her that the target is Leo, and so she's on board with that. She's going to go ahead and vote Leo, even though she does think that that's a bad move for Nick's game, but she's not going to tell him that because, let the man sink his own ship. Fun fact, he's a sailor during the summer. Speaking of Nick, um, so Nick might have told Francesca that the vote is Leo, but according to Nick, it's definitely Francesca, and the plan is for Leo to make like stress eyes or like look in distraught that it might be him going. Um, so yeah, that might have been why Leo was like playing up like a little, being a little dejected at the tribal council. I'm totally unclear at this time, but yeah, Nick also has an idol, as we and pretty much everyone in the game now all knows. And he plans to hold that idol till the final five just to use it as a threat to like other people. But what they don't know is that it actually expires at the final seven, not the final five. So he's planning on not using it at all ever, just so that he has that like looming threat of a thing, which is pretty cool. Let's see. Jess would be fine with that if he made it all the way to the final five or even the final tribal council with her, because she feels like he is beatable. And so she's looking at the future of her game right now, because on the one hand, she has and on the other side, she has a tight three with Leo and Rede. Um Uh, the other half of that, or I guess the other third of that Jess, Aldrian, and Nick three is, of course, Aldrian, who ended up telling, you'll remember she was the only other vote for Francesca last round, because Francesca received two votes, one from Cod and one from Aldrian. And it's because Aldrian really has liked Cod. And so at the last minute, Aldrian told them that they were going to be the target of the vote last round, and that she'd vote with Cod, like out of friendship, solidarity. But of course, she didn't know that the votes were going to be public. So then she had to do a little damage control, which seems to be a common theme, but it seems like she's pretty good at it because nothing has caused any major waves she hasn't been able to like talk herself out of. Um, she would ideally like a final, like the last four people in the game to be herself, Nick, Patch, and Jess, but she's not entirely sure at this event, at this like juncture, who she would want to actually sit next to in a final tribal council scenario. Let's see. Let's go to Patch now, who loves Aldrian and would probably also want to be there in the late game with her. I think that might be his closest connection currently. He also views Nick as a meat shield, so wants to keep him in the game for as long as possible, and he's making good inroads and connections with Kieran and Jess. Even though most people are floating the quote unquote easy vote of Fran, he wishes that he could target Nick. Um, and he doesn't actually want to vote Fran, so he is planning on a throwaway vote on Leo. Let's see. Phil. Um, okay. There's a through line. Where's the one? Oh, okay. So, Phil does plan on voting for Francesca because he feels like he's kind of been the one protecting her every vote. But now he feels like she might be a liability in the game because he's worried people are going to like come and start asking her like, hey, like, who do you feel close to? Like, who do you think is protecting you? And he doesn't want people to know it was him. So he wants her gone so that information cannot be shared. He is also, and that makes sense because, sorry, I don't know what this is doing. And that makes sense because Phil has revealed that in this game, he is loyal to himself only. He is like he is being close to the people who keep coming up to him, because his plan this game is to be patient and watch who approaches him. So those people are currently Kieran, Nick, Jess, and Fran. But again, he's like, okay, but Fran might have to go this round. And as he looks towards the end game, He is seeing that jury of 2 original Goddard, and there are 3 original Goddard currently left in the game in Nick, Leo, and Ride. So he doesn't want any of them in Final Tribal because he worries that they would all vote for the Goddard tribe members, and he wants one of his quote unquote caribou crew to win. Let's see. So speaking of the caribou crew, oh wait, no, not speaking of that. So yeah, so Phil is feeling good with Nick, Jess, and Kieran. Kieran is thinking this round that she wants Fran to leave because Fran is a social threat to her. And also is sowing a lot of chaos, and Kieran feels like, okay, once Fran leaves, this will kind of smooth my connection to the end game, so it'll smooth her path. But next round, she wants the potential target to be Phil, because Phil has his 50-50 coin that shot in the dark that he could potentially use to stay still from the fundraising advantage all the way back from day one. And then she also would be okay with an Aldrian vote as well, but no one is currently saying Aldrian's name at this time, so she realizes that would be a much harder battle to win. Let's see. Although Ride might be on board with an eventual Aldrian vote because he is feeling good with the entire cast and feels like no one would throw his name out except perhaps Aldrian. So he's feeling good with Nick and Kieran, although he's debating his future with Nick. Not entirely sure yet if he wants to cut him soon or not, but he's thinking on it. And he's really super locked into his final 3 of Jess, Leo, and himself. And speaking of Leo, so remember, Leo is in the Lionesses with Jess and has that final 3 with Jess and Ride, but he is loyal to no one. He said that he will cut any of them in a heartbeat because he is only loyal to himself. And he said, and he stands on that because his strategy is intentionally cutting his number ones, aka Lindsay and Cod, so that he can appear as a minority, so that the majority will come over to him and he can take control of the majority. So it's super exciting, and I thought it was so savage that he said that. All right, let's head back on into Tribal Council now.
All right. If anybody has a hidden immunity idol or an advantage and would like to play one, now would be the time to do so. All right. I'll get to the votes. First vote, Francesca. Second vote, Leo. Third vote, Francesca. Fourth vote, Leo. We're tied 2-2. Fifth vote, Francesca. Sixth vote, Francesca.
This is happening.
Seventh vote, and the next member of our jury, Francesca. That's 5. That's enough. Grab a torch.
I didn't know how this works. I've never even voted out. This is so exciting. Oh my goodness. I get to eat. Okay.
Francesca, the tributes have spoken.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'll take it. Sorry. All right. Congrats on making the final 8. We are going to get really quickly into our next immunity challenge. So you can head on out here and we'll get things set up shortly.
All right, you heard the man. We will be heading on back to the challenge field very, very shortly, so keep it locked here.
All right.